All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and tonight we're going to be talking about Killing Eve, Season 1. This show has been out for a while on the BBC America. It has been talked to death by other people, but I didn't get to see it until it came on Hulu, like Lodge 49. I didn't quite binge through this. It did take me a little while. It's kind of like I started strong, took a break, pounded a whole bunch of the middle episodes, took a break, and then watched the last few. And I really dig this show. I love that this is from the perspective of two kinds of, two female characters. This usually goes to guy characters, the serial killer / hitman, whatever. Look, Villanelle or whatever, she may be like a contract killer, but to me, she's more like a serial killer. The way she does things, she takes too much pleasure in it, and it almost feels compulsory at times. She's definitely a psychopath. Like, wow. And you don't get to see that very often. The other thing you don't get to see very often is the lead top character played by a woman. So that's one of the real, nice breath of fresh air that this show is giving two really good female actors a chance to do something that doesn't get done very often. And I know that Sandra Oh's character is now like a cop. She's like a investigator for I don't think she's I don't know if she's MI5 or not, now that I'm thinking about it, but anyway, she works for for Britain, but she's American. I don't want to dig too deep into this. There are people that will, if you watch this, pay attention to everything about this show, you'll know. You can tell me in the comment section what I got wrong there. So let's just jump in. So this show, I guess Sandra Oh won a Golden Globe, I think it was. I wasn't watching that show. I mean, as soon as I heard that the Kominsky Method won an award, I was like, the Golden Globes are fucking bullshit. Because that show doesn't deserve, that show deserves a Razzie, but we're not here to talk about the Kominsky Method. But Sandra Oh, I know of her. I saw her in the movie Sideways. She's been in a couple of things, as a side character here and there. And I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. I never have, never will. And I know that she was a big part of that show, and she got a lot of accolades on that show. But being that show, and not a kind of show that I would ever watch, I can't speak to her acting chops. People like her. But I didn't really... I kind of had a small bias going into this show, because I was like, if the big thing that she's known for is Grey's Anatomy, and what little clips and things I've seen of that, I guess, look, I'm just going to cut to the chase. She blew me away on this show. Not knowing really much about her and just hearing, how people do like her. I kind of went in this kind of skeptical. But she's fantastic. And what's great about her character in this show is the progression that the character is allowed to go through. Because at first, she's just kind of meh. Honestly, I thought, I was kind of like, this is it. This is what I'm given. But by the end of the first season, I was completely turned around more than just... Her character, Eve, is amazing. And just as equally amazing on a whole different end of the spectrum is Villanelle, played by a girl I'd never heard of. She looks like somebody that I'd seen before. But Jodie Comer, I don't know if that's the right way to say her name, but wow. She takes psychopaths to a whole new level. The joy in killing that she has, and you just don't see female characters like this. You definitely don't see female villains like this ever. They're not written well. and they're usually written by guys, and they, and so there are these stereotypes. And Villanelle is anything but a stereotype. It baffles the mind. If there's anybody out there that is like her, whew, I mean, it's like she's got to be on the same level of like psychosis as like Hannibal Lecter, because she's gone, but like she is complex, and what she cares about is just interesting, how she does things. The fact that, you know, she seems to like people, but like at the slightest whim, she will end you. And it's just crazy times. And so, yeah, at the heart of this, we've got Eve trying to track down Villanelle, Villanelle finding out that Eve is tracking her, and the growing obsession that the two have with each other. Now, that's pretty much, if you know this show, that's pretty like a Durhay kind of moment. Like, yeah, we all know the synopsis of this show. The intricacies, though, of the show is really, really cool. I like that so many people, you don't know whether they're bad or good. And the bad people have parts of them that are good, and they do really terrible things, but then they're also kind of sympathetic in ways. Everything, you know, like there's a lot of people living in this gray area at times, and you've got Villanelle and Eve on such interesting, they're both in the, you know, Villanelle and Eve are both working in this kind of gray area where one she just plows through things. Like Villanelle just does not give a crap about the gray area or anything. She just does what she wants whenever she wants to do it. And Eve is learning about all the different, like, as she gets further into this obsession of finding Villanelle, she starts to see how good people can be, are sometimes bad, and bad people are sometimes good. It's nuts. And without spoiling anything, it has one of the greatest, like last acts of an episode that I've seen in a while, even though I was a little disappointed at the very, like when there's this thing that happens and I go, whoa, okay. But then it kind of immediately is like, oh, they take away the intent. Or at least after the action is taken, that person immediately goes back on what they were doing. And that kind of bugged me a little bit. But overall, I can't wait to see what they do, because not only is this like show talking about the obsession that these two have with each other, but then there's this other side plot about this group called the 12, which is a little, I don't know, like, I guess they're trying to give it a bigger spectrum, and I know this is based on a series of books. And whether or not this is the kind of storyline that makes Villanelle like maybe more of a redemption story, or, you know, trying to find out who these people are that have kind of, who made her the way she is. I don't think she was made this way. I think she's this way and they used her. But I think going forward in further seasons of this show, we're going to see a lot more of that. And so I think maybe the will they, won't they catch each other part of Killing Eve might take a back seat to this plot. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like this is one of those shows that shouldn't go on for a really long time. But just on a character basis, this show is fantastic. It does suffer from some pretty bad cliches at times. Like there's a section in early on where a character that's working with Eve follows Villanelle, when you know that if you're a character who does that, you're gonna die. All right, this never ends well, and you know they're going off book, and nobody knows that they're doing what they're doing, and it's just like that's a big, like, kind of like, it took me out of it. Like, why would this person do that? It felt forced, and there's a few things like that in here, but other than that, a few minor kind of cliche missteps. This show is always like showing you something different all the time, and not just because the protagonist and the antagonist are both women, they're not, you know, like making that feel forced. because I don't feel like these two characters could even be played by men. If you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm already so invested in these two characters that I would never, if they had told me that on paper this was supposed to be about guys, I'd be like, no. That'd be stupid. So anyway, I felt like I was going to have a lot more to say about this than I do, but if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Maybe I'm just too tired from a long day of work, but I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, if you like this review of Killing Eve, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying check it out, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.